You gotta start somewhere, but you can hardly begin if you don't have a dream.
Holy fetch. Holy fetch. All I gotta say, bro. Are you filming? Yeah. I don't really know what's going on right now, but there are way too many people. You think they could hear that?
Needless to say, I was far from perfect. And I'm not at all afraid to admit that. I grew up in Salt Lake City with the greatest family you could ask for, and I had dreams, I had desires, I did a lot, so many struggles too. And with the desire to overcome them, God became my antidote. And with God comes self-improvement.
Wow.
When I got home, my whole entire life changed. You see, I met a girl, and seemingly, to me, it seemed like my life had finally found purpose again. In so many ways, this was so hard for me to fathom at the time. You see, I had never, ever truly been in love. I had been looking around for so long. I had been ultimately very lonely up until that point. And so you can imagine when I had met this girl, it was like suddenly I was granted the access to be happy again. But you see, there was one catch. She was leaving on an ecclesiastical mission, just like I did, in just a few days. Are you still free to hang out, or do you still want to hang out tonight? If so, I can drive out probably, I'd have to see. I could probably get there by 8:30, 8:40-ish, around there, if you're cool with that. And then we can hang out, we could do something, I don't know. But yeah, I'd be very down, so just let me know, and then if you're still down. And yeah, okay. Looking forward to hearing from you. Hope your work day is going well. Talk to you soon. That video right there, that was right before the last time we ever hung out. And that next morning, she was gone. This was heart-wrenching. It was extremely hard. I had no idea what to do with myself. And like I said, up until that point, I had never found love before. What was I supposed to do? It was about this time when I realized that something had to change. Something had to give. I had to do something with my life. If I was going to be ready for her by the time she was back, I had to grow up and become a man. So what I would start doing is I started writing letters to myself, say six months from that event, so that I could have some accountability with myself to become a better person and to see some major changes in my life. And I decided that that's exactly what I was going to do. Said a prayer, grabbed a pen and paper, and I started to write this letter. And here, hiding within my wall, no joke, hiding within my wall, which I'm not even going to read to you guys, not for one more year, which is why you guys got to subscribe now, because it's going to be crazy, is an entire letter with plans, visions, and goals to change the rest of my life. And so, in 1 year from now, if I'm not an accomplished individual, exactly who that vision says I should be, my faith in God is nowhere near where it needs to be, because that was an act of faith, writing that letter. And my only invitation for you guys today is to freaking get on your knees for once, start praying, and seek the Lord out. And upon doing these things, decide what your vision is, what your goals are, and write it down. Write it as a letter for yourself 1 year from now. It is, in fact, that time of the year again. I used to write letters to my future self all the time. Usually it was like 6 months from the point I was experiencing hardship or trials or, whatever was going on in my life. This time it's been 1 whole year. And right here on camera, I'm actually going to read the letter that I wrote for myself a year ago. And already I'm feeling kind of an odd sense of, I feel kind of awkward. Because I'm about to share something that could be really personal. It could be extremely uncomfortable to read in front of you guys. And I have a feeling it's probably going to be a little bit cringy. So anyways, without further ado, don't want to waste too much time. Let's get right into it. I have not read it at all. So this will be an experience for the both of us right here. Okay, let's do this. Already this is like so uncomfortable just to read. This was a year ago, okay guys? This was 22-year-old me. Dear future self, mark this day in your history, your lowest point. And I hope that as you read this, you are much better off. This week I devoted all of my time, energy, and money, a lot of it, to a girl who was set apart as a missionary today. And finally, after last night, saying my final goodbye and holding her in my arms for what I wished was an eternity. Not even gonna lie. You know, what can you do? All right, I can't change what I said. All right, would I agree with that? Debatable. Probably not. Anyways, I woke up feeling empty. And as I left to fill my car's tires with air, I broke down into the most heartfelt cry of my life, my entire life. I made sure to emphasize that. That's when I learned my life could never be complete without her. I now know what love truly feels like, and it can hurt like nothing else. I hope I never forget today, and after spending an entire day in complete silence, I realized that I need to prepare to meet her again. I've developed an eating disorder of sort, just stressing out, full of worry for her. My aching hunger turns to miserable sickness. After even a few bites, I weigh 151 pounds. I've lost just about 15 pounds. I've lost most of my muscle. I'm in debt $10,000. And earlier this week, I only had $5 to my name. That is, dang, exposing me. Sheesh. That is so hard to read. And all of my business ideas no longer inspire me. I ponder if I should just give up and get a 9-to-5 job. Woof. Dang, does that slap harder than my mama? Just kidding, my mom does not. She's never, yeah. My hope is that as I read this, I can also remember how I felt today. Don't forget your purpose. Don't forget your why. Don't stop, please. I know now better than ever how blessed I am. A family who loves me, friends who support me, and a Father in heaven who knows me personally and understands what I go through. Remember, resilience is what brought you who you are. Without it, you would have and be nothing. In 1 year, I want to be a good person. Nothing more, nothing less. I want to be good. I want to devote my time and exhaust all my resources to serving those around me. I want to smile more like I used to, and I want to be worthy enough to feel Christ's love more frequently. I want to be without pride completely. Gabriel, don't forget to pray. Stop procrastinating your spiritual growth. You don't have enough time to stand idly by. Remember, a man who has not God suffers his whole life searching, just to find nothing. The weakest form of man is the man who forgets his need to commune with the Lord. Oh, be wise, stand as a witness in all things, be faithful that you might withstand the adversary. Remember that as a man thinketh, so is he. And my greatest advice is to kneel in prayer more frequently. Remember, it was God who brought you here. It's really weird reading a letter that you wrote to yourself from a year ago. It's extremely weird. I do remember exactly how I felt at that time. I was at my, seriously, when I write about me feeling at my lowest. That was seriously what I felt to be my lowest. Now it's debatable whether or not that was my lowest point. I've had really hard experiences since. I have suffered a lot, but I do remember that being like an uncontrollable feeling of sadness and depression, which I had never really felt. It's strange. I expected to hear more about my goals, my dreams, but it was really not about the money. I was expecting it to be about money. It was about the spiritual side of things. That's what I really found to be of the most value to me when I was in those hard times. I can't forget that. And it's actually really strange. It talks about how I want to smile more like I used to, and I want to be worthy enough to feel Christ's love more frequently. I want to be without pride completely. And I'm not going to say I'm without pride completely, because I think that's a lifelong thing everyone needs to really work on. But it's strange because most genuinely, for the first time in my entire life, I do feel like I am more worthy than I have ever been, ever. More worthy than I have ever been. And I realize it's not about worthiness. Christ will love you regardless of who you are, but I did not feel worthy to feel his love. I didn't feel worthy to feel his love. Now I am worthy. I am worthy. But I don't need to be worthy to feel of his love, because he will give it to me regardless. I wrote about a girl, and I'm not going to say her name, in that letter, and I expected so much in the future from meeting her, and things change. Things change. I don't know exactly, I could go into details about what exactly happened, but ultimately found that we just weren't right for each other. I found that that's not really the person I want to marry. That's not really the person I see myself spending my life with. Instead, just a few months ago, I met a girl, and where that was the hardest thing for me was finding that person for me. Now I have found that person, and we are planning a future out together. And that to me is extremely valuable. Those things that I thought I had lost a year ago are here today, but in a completely different way than I ever would have imagined. My friends, everybody watching this video, don't lose hope in what's happening in your life. God has a plan. He's making it work. Day by day, He is serving you. He is bringing you joy, peace, and love. You just have to accept it. Doesn't mean that you aren't going to experience hardship. I experienced so much hardship. My goal last year was to hit 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, which was May 23rd of this year, not too long ago. Not only did I exceed my goal, but I exceeded my expectations. I became someone who I never thought I could be, and just in a year. I heard a quote that we oftentimes overestimate what can happen in a year and underestimate what can happen in a decade. I want to say that's completely, yes, it's true, but at the same time, I think we underestimate what can happen in a year, what can happen in 12 months. If you just have faith, if you just have a goal and a dream and a vision, you can make anything that you need to happen in your life happen. And it will happen in a twinkling of an eye. 1 year has gone by so fast. I haven't worked a 9-to-5 ever since. All I do is I film videos and I mentor kids on art. I've offered my services to a few of you in the comments, and I message you sometimes personally over Instagram and other things, and I get to be a mentor to you, and that has helped me so much. And I do it for free because I find joy in it. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a good person. I think that's what really touched me the most about this letter. All I wanted from 1 year's worth of effort and work was just to be a good person. Nothing more, nothing less. I wanted to be good, as it says. I want to devote my time and exhaust all of my resources to serving those around me. I don't think I've done the best at that. I don't think I've been the most efficient in this year with the goals that I've had. I don't think I've been the most efficient. I think I've been lazy. I think I've been weak. I think I've been extremely prideful. And because of those things, I've blinded myself multiple times in a row. But at the end of the day, have I become so much more than I was? Absolutely. And I would not have been able to do that if I did not have faith in God. If I didn't put my trust in Him. In the clip I just showed you, it talks about how 1 year ago I literally said, if this doesn't come to fruition, then my faith in God is not where it needs to be. My invitation is the same, to write a letter to your future self, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to kneel down, I'm going to pray, and I'm going to write one more letter from 1 year from now. And this time I'm not going to be hiding in my wall. I'm going to put it in an envelope. I'm going to save it from 1 year from now, because I'm not going to be living here in a year. And I've got serious dreams, I've got serious goals, and I promise you guys, if you act in faith, knowing not for sure what's going to happen in this process, if you kneel down, pray, and write yourself a future letter, every single thing, every single dream you write about will come to fruition. Be realistic. Listen to your Father in heaven, who speaks to you very clearly at this time. And write down exactly everything you hear him say. I promise you, what is in that letter 1 year from now will surprise you. It's definitely surprised me, and I feel so grateful, humbled to know that the Lord loved me so much, that even when I wasn't doing my best, he gave me everything and more.